Tell you when we go live. Okay. I'm getting notification. I'm getting notification. 1 second. And we are live. Man, I have a great guest this evening on New Year's Eve. Just for her, we're doing a special New Year's Eve edition of Off the Record. We have Sister Valerie Muhammad, all the way from Los Angeles, California, who is a pillar in our nation and shoulders that we stand on. And we thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to have a conversation with us this evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. My sister Mimi says, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, ma'am.
Brother Ronald says, West. You know, he's in love.
West Coast. You know it. 3-time world champion. Fall back.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, and my brother Rashad says, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother Rashad.
Okay,
I pray
yes,
Allah, you and your family are doing well.
Praise, we saw a lot. Okay, now, Sister Valerie, the first question we want to know is, as long as I can remember and have been alive, I've seen you already in the ranks, but how did you first hear the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad?
Well, what happened was, I just want to say, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. And I greet you in the greeting audience and the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. And I was searching for God at a time when I was introduced to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I was searching for God. I had fresh out of college, 1983, first job, mental health counselor, training adults, job skills in order to get job placement. Happened to be down the street from a cleaners that I now know that Minister Don owned in Boston, Massachusetts, called Novasheen. There was a brother in there working there, and he's the one that actually introduced me to the teachings.
Yes, ma'am. So you were in Boston?
I am originally from Boston, born and raised.
Okay, I didn't ever do that. Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay.
Of course, you know the minister was raised in Boston.
Yes, ma'am. I'm familiar. And my hat is from Boston because.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so what was it about the teachings that made you want to accept?
Well, you know, I was a born again Christian. I'm still a born again Christian. You know, I was in the church, St. Paul AME Episcopal, Cambridge, near MIT and Harvard, you know, Harvard students, MIT students. So, you know, I'm somebody, praise be to Allah. And so I'm in that church, and it's a beautiful church, Black oriented, African Methodist. I'm singing in the choir, New Temple Singers, Voices of Faith, singing for the Lord, you know. There was just some questions that I asked or I didn't understand. Like, I didn't understand everything in the Bible because sometimes there were differences. You know, one scripture would say one thing and another scripture would say another, and I just was a little confused.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, yes, ma'am. Who was it that you heard speak that convinced you or convicted you?
Well, first, I think I heard Dr. Ava. As I went into the cleaners, I was putting clothes in the cleaners, and the brother behind the counter, he kept talking to me, you know, about Islam, but I was trying to invite him to my church. And I was trying to tell him, you know, you got to listen to us sing. We're going to be singing 5 o'clock in the morning. So he listened. When I came back, I said, you listen? He said, yeah. And he was like, yeah, but he had Dr. Ava playing in the background. And I said, who is that?
Okay.
And he said, oh, that's Minister Ava Muhammad. She's a minister.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Now we got to go back to you saying you were singing at 5 in the morning. So does that mean you sing?
I used to sing. I was in the choir many years ago.
Yes, ma'am. And what type of music did you used to sing?
I'm sorry?
What type of music did you used to sing?
Gospel.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. So is this where your children, but especially your 3 of your sons, knew who sing, that they got their voice from you, is what you're saying?
Well, I would like to claim that, even though I say all praise is due to Allah. Yes, their father was in a group called the Delistics with his brothers. And so when we married and we had children, he always wanted his sons to form a group together and
Okay.
sing.
Okay.
So we had 3 sons. I have 4 sons,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
he had Marquise and Rasan to sing, because Mark, he was kind of not wanting to really do it.
Okay.
So I think Rasan must have been like 5 or 6
Okay.
starting
Okay.
out, and Marquise was going along with him, for protection, big brother kind of thing, and they both was singing, together. So their father actually got him started.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Wonderful. I never knew that. Okay. Excellent. Okay. My next question is, how did you get to Los Angeles?
Well, I was in I was in Boston, right? Born
Yes,
and
ma'am.
raised. My mom passed away. Um, my husband at that time was going through a lot of challenges, and he said, we should try a new place. And so after my mom passed, we moved to Columbus, Georgia,
Mm,
out
mm.
in your neck of the woods.
Yes, ma'am.
And we bought a nice home, and we lived there for about 2 years.
Mm, mm.
And so,
Okay.
I forgot. And so then after that, with him and I had some challenges. And so with the challenges that we had, I decided to pack up my children and drive across country
Mm.
for some peace of mind.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the open enemy sets up these traps for the Black man, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
based on the weaknesses of the Black man, sometimes he'll fall for these traps, right? And so he fell for a few traps. And as a wife, I'm trying to help, console, but sometimes there are things in the world that are stronger than than what you can do, you
Yes,
know?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm thinking love can conquer all. I can do this. I can help you. Wrong. I couldn't,
Mm,
once
mm.
something begins to take you over, it's between you and Allah. You do the best you can, but sometimes you have to move on.
Yes, ma'am. And once you got to Los Angeles, did you hear? How did you get to the mosque? Like, how did you reconnect with the teachers? How did you know?
So I have one biological brother,
Okay.
and my brother had came into the mosque in about 1985, 86.
Okay.
So when he was a lieutenant and everything. So he was out here. So was my father. Him and my father had been out here 20 and 30 years.
Mm,
Well, they knew that I was having problems at home. So when I called them, my father said, you should come here
mm,
and we will help you. So
mm,
I packed my children up in the car, and we had to come through Mississippi, which at that time, there was a so-called lynching of a Muslim brother, and Minister
mm-hmm.
Farrakhan had came down there, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you, the wrath of Allah
Yes, ma'am.
hit the South.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
driving in it, and I'm scared. We didn't have no cell phones. I pull over, and I call my father on a pay phone, and I say, Dad, it's raining. I
Mm,
can't even see.
mm.
I'm crying. I'm out of control. My children are in the car. He said, well, go to a hotel, rest, and call me in the morning. Well, that was all the doctor ordered.
Mm.
I went to the hotel, me and the children, we slept, we showered, we got up, and then we were on our way. It was so hot in the South. I later learned that the minister had just left there and
Mm.
brought down the wrath of Allah for hanging our brother.
Yes, ma'am.
Talking about he committed suicide. Stop it.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway.
Okay. Okay. Now, excellent. Now, I just want to do a quick commercial break for people who are watching.
Okay.
There's a sister named Sister Shelby, who was directress of Chicago Muhammad University of Islam, who I also interviewed off the record. If y'all go back, and her brother is the brother who was killed.
I didn't know that.
Yes, ma'am. And so if y'all go back, then you can tell the stories. And boom, just like Vlad. See how I did that?
Wow.
Okay. Walaikum salam, Sister Organic Poet. Walaikum salam, Sister Tawana.
Walaikum salam. Those are my sisters.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Excellent. It's always good to have support. Okay,
yes,
so when you get to Los Angeles, who is the minister, the captain, the sister captain? Help us put us in the mindset of what it was like to be in LA at this time.
LA West Side, so MTS, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So my brother picked me up from, I think it was Ontario, and I got situated, and he brought me right to the study group. The study group, I believe, was in Pomona. And I think I forgot the study group coordinator's name, but I'm going to say Dr. Ave was the minister. There was 2 Captain Alice's. So the first Captain Alice and then the sister Captain Alice Emeritus. So I was under the first Captain Alice and under Dr. Ave. But little did I know, I believe Minister Wazir was the minister, and then I believe Dr. Ave took over, may Allah be pleased with him, after Minister Wazir. So I didn't really know Minister Wazir. I got to know Minister Wazir later. But yeah, I think it was Dr. Ave, the first sister, Captain Alice, and then our Captain Emeritus, Alice.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Excellent. So then you come in the ranks. What is your function during this time period? Were you lieutenant?
Well, right. Well, most of the time in Boston, I wasn't registered in Boston. So I didn't actually get registered until I went to Columbus, Georgia. And so I went to the mosque a couple of times in Boston, but I had a family, you know, my mother was sick. So there were a lot of different things going on. And I didn't really know about getting registered. I just knew the mosque. And so I remember Minister Farrakhan coming to St. Cyprian's Church. And that was the church that I was raised in also, because my grandfather was from Jamaica. So a lot of the, you know, Jamaicans, Catholics kind of went to Episcopalian church. And so I was so honored to see Minister Farrakhan at St. Cyprian's Church. I had 2 sons at that time, Rashad and Marquise, and I was still a little spooky. You know, I was like, can you just touch the head of my sons and anoint my sons and bless my sons? And, you know, he put his hands on their head and I'm like, oh yeah, you know. And he shook my hand and I was like, oh my God, I shook the hand of the minister, you know. So those were very proud moments. But you know, while I was out here, I had my daughter Aisha was like 7 months old. So I had a really good lieutenant, Sister Story. I mean, she taught me how to cook. She taught me how to sew. She didn't play no games when it came to teach and train the private soldier, you know? So she taught me a lot, you know, about just being an MGT. And I think when Aisha turned 1 year old, because I was 45 minutes outside of LA. So when I would go into LA for the Saturday MGT meeting, Sunday mosque meeting, and I would try to go to the Wednesday and Friday meeting, I'm like 45 minutes to and from without traffic, maybe an hour and a half with traffic. So they saw, you know, who I was. They wanted me to become a lieutenant, but my lieutenant was like, you know, your baby's still small. You're out here kind of by yourself trying to raise your children. You might want to wait. So I waited until Aisha was 1, and then they kept asking me. So I finally became a lieutenant.
Okay, excellent. So now when you're a lieutenant, when I think the people I've interviewed in LA, did you have any, what was your relationship like with Dr. Ave? May Allah be pleased with him. How was he as a minister?
Absolutely wonderful. We would ride into Los Angeles from out in the Inland Empire, and we would just come down, and the mosque meeting was at 2:00 at that time. And so we would just go to the mosque. I didn't know anyone really in LA because I lived farther out. So I would just come in, you know, bring all my family, listen to the meeting, and then I would go back. So it wasn't until later on when I moved to LA that I got to know a lot more sisters in LA.
Okay, praise be to Allah. A sister named Jacqueline says, "Salaikum, Sister Val, from your long."
Well, alaikum salam, Sister Jackie.
Yes, ma'am. And your daughter says, "Shout out to Sister
Aisha in New Jersey, mosque number 25.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so my next question is, Dr. Khalid, did you have any interactions with him, and how was that when you were in LA?
Well, what happened was, you know, everybody in LA when I came out here, loved Dr. Khaled.
Yes, ma'am.
I really didn't know a whole lot about Dr. Khaled, to be honest. And after I was here for a while, I allowed my children's father, my husband at that time, to come back and we tried to work it out. The day that Khaled had got shot, we had got a call saying, you know, don't go check, don't stand, stand down. And so then I stood down. Then I got another call say, we need to go and get, you know, check the people. So when we went to check, it was a lot of different elements in the air going on, like men just, you know, trying to come on the sister side to walk through areas. And, you know, as the MGT, we're not having it.
That's right.
Excuse me, sir. You might want to go this way, right? So that was one thing. And then they didn't want us to check with our garments on. So another sister went, you know, and did what she needed to do to come back and change, but we still stayed on post. So it was just little different things that was going on. Like, what is going on? Then we go inside. Brother Khaled is, you know, Brother Khaled. Hook nose, bagel face, you know. He going in, right? I'm like, oh, it's about to go down, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm in the bleachers. I'm sitting at the bottom, and I hear somebody stomp, 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 stomp down the bleachers, because you know it's in a gym, and those bleachers have like this echo. They stomp, stomp, and I'm looking up like, oh, it's a, you know, I'm getting ready.
Yes, ma'am.
So he storms out. I don't have to listen to this, you know. So it was a young Caucasian man, and he was upset at what Brother Khaled was saying. So then the people ended up shutting it down from my memory. And when they shut it down, Dr. Khaled said, oh, we can take this outside. Well, we took it outside, and then all of a sudden we hear shots fired. Bop, 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 bop. Now, you know, I'm from South Central LA. I hear some shots fired. I'm ducking down, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I ducked down near the trash can. I see this whole army of brothers dealing with the person that shot him. So I wanted to get, you know, my little licks in, but, you know, I had to come back and watch, you know, and protect myself, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
yes, ma'am.
You know, and then Sister Amina's husband, I remember Brother Larry, which I didn't know at the time, carried him out. And by Allah's grace, he was fine. He just got hit like in the ankle. So I didn't have a whole lot of interaction with Dr. Khaled. You know, I just went to that event, and then that happened. And I'm like, wow, I would have never in a million years thought something like that would happen.
Praise be to Allah. Man, that's a great, I think you're maybe the second person who I've ever spoken with who was actually there. So that's great to hear, you know, your side of that story. Yes, now, the most I'm into is Farrakhan got to touch your oldest two sons' head. But yes, ma'am. But it seems like as long as I've been alive, it seems like you and the minister, like he's been around your children, your family. How is that like to be able to see him every time he comes to Los Angeles and have such a great relationship with the man of God?
It is truly an honor and a privilege. You know, it is an honor to even know the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you know, because Allah did not even have to allow us to know him, me. And, you know, coming through life, and the enemy makes sure that we don't hear his words or see him on TV. He does a Million Man March. You don't want to put out any notification about it. And millions of men come, all different religions. You know, this is a great man in our midst. I'm honored to breathe the same breath as the minister. I'm honored to live in the same time frame as the minister. And I am honored to serve under his leadership.
Okay, great. Brother Daniel said he witnessed this on the news. Sister Tawana says, get your licks in. She ready. My sister Mimi says, this is great history and my first time hearing it from an MGT's perspective. Thank you for sharing. Brother Ronald says, Brother Stan was from P-Town.
Brother Stan, he was a study group coordinator.
Okay, yes, ma'am. He said he found the gun and tried to kill the shooter. Brother Daniel says, yes, ma'am, it's the truth. And Sister Sean says, say that just to know him. Praise be to Allah.
Yes.
Okay, my next question is, I mean, people literally will text me questions all day as soon as I told them that you were coming.
Praise
Yes,
be to Allah.
driller. My next question is
Drill.
driller. Yes,
I
ma'am.
love drill.
Okay,
And I know you love drill.
absolutely. What is it about drill that makes you not only drill in your early days, but drill now, drill with your granddaughter, three generations of drillers? What is it about drill that you know that attracts you and make you put that into your children and grandchildren?
Drill. The military exercise of the God.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's exercise. It's here, it's obey, it's focus, it's discipline. You have to maneuver. And I just love the unity and the camaraderie of the sisterhood and the drill team. And I like physical activity anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
I was a physical education major in college. So any kind of physical workout I really like. And so when I came in, I had never drilled before. And so when I saw the sisters, I'm like, oh, I'm ready to do this.
Yes, ma'am.
And we had Sister Connie, which is now Sister Sabira, as our drill instructor in class.
Okay.
And
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know, we had Sister Halima, she was the Vanguard captain for some time in that. And then Sister Sybil, which I think her new name is Walea, Sister Walea,
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I know you're talking
was
about.
a Vanguard captain as well. And so we had, you know, Sister Kabasa and Sister Hania. I mean, we had some great, great drillers. So it wasn't hard to follow, you know, them and to follow them in their footsteps. So what keeps me going is I really like it. And as long as Sister Harmony keeps teaching me how to drill like a Vanguard, because there was at one point where I was like, you know what, I think this is a bit much for me. And my granddaughter turned around and said, Grandma, you're not going to drill with us because you're lazy? I said, no, she did not come out of her mouth saying I'm lazy. So I said, no, honey, I was just feeling a little challenged. And so I continued, and by Allah's grace, you know, we did it.
Praise be to Allah. Now, could you put us back in the mindset? So the evolution of drill is something that I take a lot of, you know, pride in studying and trying to push the culture forward of drill. The LA Vanguard changed drill tremendously. The beats and the the MGT, you are in 2000 wearing those different the throwback uniforms and things of that nature. What was drill like in the 80s for the LA when you coming in? What were y'all doing? Like, how was drill back then?
Well, see, I can't really speak on the 80s because I came in the 90s.
Okay, so the 90s, what was the drill like?
Yeah, and so the 90s with the Vanguard drill, we would always come in second place for the Vanguard because you know Sister LaShonda, come on now, from Atlanta, we're trying to come up against Sister LaShonda, the great drill god.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And we would always come in second.
Okay.
And so then finally, the Vanguard, I think when Sister Teresa did it first, then the Vanguard won first place.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we were like, okay, we're in. All praise due to Allah.
Okay.
Then we won second and third, and we didn't do fourth. But yes, so 3-time world champions. And then the MGT,
yes,
I believe we were under Sister Teresa. We was under, the name slips from me, but she was a sister who was a captain in Compton, and she was our drill instructor. And we won, I think, once with her, and I think twice with Sister Teresa.
Okay.
Yeah, and but drill brings a lot of unity, and you know, it also being together so much, you know, it's a lot of emotions, you know, and it becomes emotional, and you just have to make sure that you keep the proper perspective as to why you're drilling for Almighty God Allah, who came in a person of Master Fard Muhammad. It's not always about winning, even though winning would be nice, but it's about the representation, the camaraderie, the unity, the love, you know, that you build with the sisterhood is like none other.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, so I still enjoy drill. I teach the juniors at school. And I also have been working with some of the newer sisters off times so that they can learn how to drill as well.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, I got some more questions because we have to come to the Michael Jackson as well.
Okay.
I want to say this podcast is brought to you by Supreme Spring Water. If you all can order, make sure you all get your order. My sister Miriam's book, ABC I Love Me, it's a children's book and a coloring book, which is on Amazon. My brother Rashad, Tree Premier, him and brother Jamal have a video production company, and they're doing great things with, all kind of stuff, videos and editing and all that kind of stuff. My second book, which is called Cleopatra, it is a children's book. It is on Amazon as well. And if you all have a business that you want me to sponsor, let me know. J Imagination on Cash App, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just hit me, and we can promote your book, promote whatever your business is as well. Okay, back to you, Sister Valerie.
Yes, sir.
I was speaking with my mother last week, and I told her, I said, I'm supposed to interview Sister Valerie, and she said, oh, Sister Valerie. And I said, like responding to mama, she said, oh, do you mean Sister Captain Valerie? Who's like, and I said, I didn't know she was a captain. She was correcting me. And I said, I never knew that you were a captain.
Yes, sir.
What was it like for you serving as the West Coast Regional Captain? I mean, how was that?
I was so surprised to have become a Western Regional MGT captain.
Yes, ma'am.
I was under Sister Captain Alice Emeritus, and she taught us just so much about sisterhood, womanhood, motherhood, how to be a soldier, how to be a sister and a soldier, And so I was her first officer for a while, and I enjoyed taking instructions from her and helping to maneuver the sisterhood based on her instructions. So it became a time where she was, going to not be on the post. And when she said she was going to put me on the post, my eyes got so big, like, Sister Captain, are you okay? Are you sure, that's, what you want to do? And she was like, yes, ma'am, this is what I want to do. And, I hear and obey. So, if you telling me you need me to do something by Allah's grace, I try to make that happen. So I was so shocked. And when Minister Abdul Malik, of course, he was Minister Tony back then, but he has a new name.
Yes, ma'am.
Minister Abdul Malik, he said, I see Sister Captain wants you to be the, regional MGT captain. And I was like, yes, sir, but you might want to talk to her because I have 6 children and I'm a single parent, and I'm struggling right now. And, I don't have a car yet. And, I'm just going down this list of why it shouldn't happen. And he's like, he said, Allah will take care of that, sister. And I'm like, I'm not getting anywhere with him. And he's like, and I was like, but my children, he said, oh, Allah will take care of them, and I'm like, and a car. And he said, Allah will take care of that. And Allah took care of all of that and more.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I was inaugurated into the post and coming behind such a great one.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what people expected of me because they would always say, Sister Captain Alice didn't do it that way.
Yeah.
I understand. Sister Captain Alice is maybe 30 years my senior. So I don't see how I can do it the way she did it. Only thing I can do is do it the way Allah allows me to do it. Because you're only in those posts and in these positions for a time and a season.
Yes, ma'am.
And so Allah, he uses whom he pleases.
That's right.
At the time he needs to use you. So who are you to say no,
Yes, ma'am.
We can be like Jonah running.
That's right.
On the belly of the whale, and I was very good at that. But, I submitted and it was the most rewarding experience I could have ever done in the nation, just serving women, and just helping wherever I could. And I like to help. I like to help in the nation. So all praises due to Allah.
Excellent. Okay. Praises due to Allah. That's great. And I want to read to you some of the comments. A lot of people saying love, praise be to Allah. Keep teaching sisters, love, love, a lot of hearts. Brother Duran says, Assalamu alaikum. Sister
Walaikum
Valerie
salam,
Muhammad.
Brother Duran.
Sister Valerie Muhammad is a beautiful example of a Muslim sister. She's down
Thank
to
you.
earth and practical with her Islam. Basically, she wears her Islam well. They
Praise
just don't
Allah.
make them like her any longer. She has been a lieutenant, captain, assistant student minister, a great and dear sister to us all. And did I
Praise
mention the
Allah.
soldier? Praise be to Allah. Sister Naira
Sister
says soldiers well.
Naira.
Yes, ma'am.
Praise be
Okay.
to Allah.
My next question is Michael Jackson. Now,
Michael.
could you please give us an inside look to what it was like working with him, working with his children? Man, to the GOAT, put us, where we need to be.
Let me just say, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan opens doors for us. He builds and creates friendships in all walks of life.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is our duty and responsibility that when he opens these doors, that we be civilized. So the whole time I'm working for Mr. Jackson, I'm thinking this is a post, let me do everything right and exact. I started out as a housekeeper and I was fine with that because I was newly married and I could just go there, clean the house. I'm talking about I think it was a 11 bedroom home, maybe 22 bathrooms. And I'm like, I would have never in a million years been able to imagine living like that. Maids, butlers, servants, nannies, housekeepers. So I worked with a great team. I saw that you had Captain Wayne on your show, and I was working with Captain Wayne. So we had a great time, but I would have never been able to imagine how great it felt, to live like that. So I started out as a housekeeper, and they had nannies already, and I was fine with that because I said, you all go ahead and travel, do your thing. Me and the other nanny, we had an agreement. Okay, you keep doing that, But then they had let her go. And Sister Maria called me and she said, well, Michael's asking for you. I'm like, Michael's asking for me? Like, is he asking for my hand in marriage or what? So no, just kidding. But so she said he's asking you to come and be the children's swim teacher and be the children's nanny. Cause my resume was like, she's a PE major and, we're supposed to know how to swim, and I could swim a little bit, but yeah. So I became the nanny and I ended up traveling with him, not for a really long time, but maybe 3 to 4 weeks at a time. Okay. You know what I'm saying? You're not able to come to the mosque. You are with one of the richest entertainers in the world. Yes, and he was so kind, so soft-spoken, just so accommodating, so I really miss that, but it was an honor and a pleasure to work with him and his children.
Okay, great. Walaikum salam, Sister Naima. Thank you for joining us. Yes, ma'am. Okay, my next question is, you said, South Central LA, you knew what to do with gunshots when Dr. Khaled and all of that. How did you, a mother, 6 children, LA is, it's not pretty all the time, you know what I'm saying? Did you ever fear for your life? Did you ever, receive death threats or, fighting in the nation, and you're serving as captain and you're working with the minister, Compton and Long Beach and Slauson and all of these, you know what I'm saying? Did you ever fear for your life? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
I don't recall ever really fearing for my life. I know that things happen out here like they do anywhere. I just had no idea of gang violence and all the things that go on, because when I came, the MUI had went away. I went to work for MUI, but then it was taken. So my children ended up going to public school. And I really didn't have any idea what went on in the public school, because I went to public school in Boston. And we had the whole forced busing thing, and we were bused to different schools outside of our community. back home. But here, you know, the schools are horrible, horrible. And I can't even imagine what the school system is now, because they've just infiltrated it with a whole lot of madness. So my children suffered going to public school.
Yes,
You know, they suffered because of the gangs, and the gangs wanting you to be initiated into the gangs, and then they kind of cute. So here come the girls, you know.
They kind of
You know, they kind of, by Allah's grace, are considered kind of cute, you know. So you got the girls, you got the drugs, you got the gangs, you got the violence.
Okay.
I mean, and I just thank Allah, you know, that they got through that. And they are reasonably sane.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and I say reasonably sane because we're all somewhat reasonably sane.
Yes, ma'am.
I just thank Allah they didn't lose their life. You couldn't wear blue shoelaces in a red neighborhood. You know, what is that about? And grow up like that. I just grew up, if you were going to fight, you fought with your fists. Nobody really got guns. If you were going to get a weapon, you maybe got a knife or something. I mean, I just remember fighting with a little knife, like, yeah, I'm going to get you, you know, that kind of thing. But, you know, to just go and just blow your brother away because of a street that doesn't belong to you, come on now, we are messed up.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why I thank Allah for the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, because we all need help.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of your children, what advice would you give to future mothers on rearing children?
Well, I would first tell them, seek refuge in Allah against the curse of Satan. Patience and prayer is everything. Listen to the tapes the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us on how to give birth to a God.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Envelop them, you know, and always rely on Allah for everything and make him sufficient for everything. Because without Allah, you don't have nothing.
That's right.
That's what I would say.
Okay, excellent. I'm coming to y'all's comments. I see them. What was it like? What was the difference between you raising sons and raising daughters to help mothers like who may have sons and may have daughters? Was there a difference in how you raised them? You kept the same approach?
So there's definitely a difference. You know, the MGT class, Muslim Girls in Training and General Civilization class.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, got to give a shout out to the MGT class. Our national captain, sister, not Sandy. What's her new name?
Naima, right?
Naima, yes. Okay. That MGT class gave me everything that I needed to rear children. They gave me the structure. They gave me the foundation. Even Allah gave me the thoughts on girls from boys, because in this society, anything goes, you know, but you train your boys to be providers and maintainers, you know, and you train your girls you train both of them to seek refuge in Allah, but you train your girls to be the nurturer, you know, and to be the helpmeet. You know, and in today's society, I don't know if that's being taught. So with the 7 basic training units, how to cook, sew, you know, we have it all, you know, within our nation to help us to guide our children to the straight path and not the path of those upon whom thou hast, you know,
yes, ma'am,
the wrath has come down.
Absolutely.
So praise be to Allah.
Excellent, wonderful. Praise to Allah. Brother Amin, Chef Amin says,
Amin.
Brother Naeem says, all praises to Allah. My sister Miriam says, thank you for your service to our nation and thank you for your beautiful spirit. We appreciate your sacrifice and your family sacrifice.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, ma'am.
Sister Sean Joy is saying, praise be to Allah.
Shauna Joy.
My brother Rashad says, can you ask her about, thank you, Rashad. Can you ask her about the car accident at the drill competition in 1996? I was coming to
that. Yeah. 1997, I think. 97. The minister gave us the name Muhammad, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the next And then the next year, 1997, we have 3 vans full of children going to Chicago and supplies and all of that in our van. And we have the van and we're going through, I believe, Nebraska, and I kind of doze off. So my husband wakes up, sees me doze off, and pulls the wheel real hard to veer the wheel back to the road. But when he pulls it real hard, we flip and slide. As we flip and slide, my daughter Ayana is thrown out the window. My daughter Aisha is buried inside the van. The 2 vans that were in front and in back, of course, were astounded. And so when we pull on the side of the road, Aisha's not there. So Marquise goes back in the van and pulls out Aisha and pull, you know, FOI, right? Yeah, pulls out Aisha and gives her to me. Well, most of Aisha was just in and out. We're in like some kind of cornfield. Sister Arisha's with us. 3 Carlos, Sister Jackie's with us. We had FOI with us. And I'm just screaming, got blood all over me in the fields. Master Farad, please don't let my baby die.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm telling you, I said it over and over and over. Master Farad, please don't let my baby die, you know? So as this is going on, Aisha's in and out of consciousness. I'm just still saying it. Everybody's distraught. So I guess we get to a hospital. They say there's nothing that they can do. They say they're going to helicopter her to a trauma center. And I need to sign these papers to say she won't make it. And if she doesn't make it, it's not because of them. Well, my husband, her father, was like, we're not signing no papers, FOI, prior to 75, right? He said, we ain't signing no papers. And he didn't say it that nice. He said, and you ain't taking my baby nowhere without me, because y'all devils want to kill my baby, right?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And I'm like, oh my God, my baby, you know, so I got blood all over me. We all distraught, and he's arguing with the people. And I'm like, my baby though. And I'm near her like, Aisha. And she's in and out, you know. So then they say, well, we're going to take her to the trauma center. And my husband said, you ain't taking her nowhere unless I'm with her. So they said, well, I'm sorry, sir. No one can go into the helicopter alone. He said, you ain't taking my baby. And he just used some choice words. Nowhere, right? So they let him get in the helicopter. We had to ride in the car maybe an hour to get to the trauma center. So when we get there, it's nothing but us. 3 van loads, we're all there, we're all distraught. Ayana's face is swelled up, red. We all get checked out. Everybody's okay. Ayana was okay, even though her face was just swelled up and red. So now they operate on Aisha. They do the surgeries, multiple skull fractures. The believers were in Chicago. Brother Bashir and his family and some other believers came to Nebraska and gathered all the Muslims that was there in a couple of events. I'm telling you, my nation is the best, okay? Y'all is missing out if you ain't in the nation. Y'all missing out, I'm just saying. This nation is the best, right? So they got all my children together. I did not make that Savior's Day. And I was on the drill team. My children were on the drill team. Everybody was on the drill team. But my drill team, I think we needed 7, and I made the 7th person. So we called Minister Malik at that time, and we said, please ask them, because of the accident, can they still drill, or, you know. But we ended up getting disqualified for the buttons. And then we came back the next year and showed everybody, you know, what they were doing. Allah allow my baby to live. My baby, Aisha, is beautiful. My family, he allowed us to live. Because the next day, we got a call from a family member saying they had a very similar accident and they had several fatalities because when they flipped, a truck hit them.
Mm.
I'm telling you, the God is good.
Allahu
He
Akbar.
is good. Okay. So we make it through. Aisha has several surgeries. Following that surgery, Allah blessed her to be put back together.
Mm.
And Aisha's face, my children were brought on stage along like with Sister Jackie and a lot of the believers that was with them. They was brought on stage in 97, and Minister Ishmael brought him up there, and he was talking about Aisha, and he looked at Ayana's face, and then Minister Farrakhan, he called the hospital, he sent flowers, and he, I mean, it was just so beautiful. And so after all of that, they get on, they drilled, they do their thing, and then everybody comes back and they go home. And me and my husband at that time were still in Nebraska. Well, the believers in Nebraska came to the hospital. And I didn't even know there was a mosque in Nebraska. I didn't even know Black people were in Nebraska.
Okay, me neither.
And I'm like, they're all covered and they come to the hospital. I have not left Aisha's side in like a week.
Allahu Akbar.
And so they come and they say, sister, you should come out and get some fresh air. It was freezing. It was ice cold. And, my daughter will stay here with your daughter. And I'm like, well, no, I can't leave. And at this time, Aisha had the surgery. She's recovering. She's recuperating. And so I went to the believers' home. They had a barbershop. They had a business in Nebraska, Lincoln. And I'm like, and I think Sister Risha's family is from Nebraska, and she was our captain.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, the believers came out. I received, by Allah's grace, so much love from the nation internationally. I mean, people were calling me, praying for me. I literally felt the prayers of the believers, because every time the doctor would come in the room, he would say, I have to check her for brain damage. And then when he walked in, Aisha said, Mommy, what is this place? And he walked back out. She said, the fact that she could say that, she's fine. And so I said, all praise is due to Allah. I had never done rakas before on a cold floor in the hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
I was on a cold floor, dirty floor in the hospital doing rakas next to my daughter's bed.
Praise be to Allah.
Allah answered my prayers.
Yes, ma'am. Because
the doctor came, he said, she has a drip back here. We may have to go back in. And Aisha's probably never heard this story. She's probably, listening. I love you, Aisha. I hope you're not crying, okay? But, and so he answered my prayers. So then she wasn't able to walk. She couldn't see, nothing. And then one day I bring her in the playroom, and she's, got the tubes and everything on. And I sit her down on the floor so she could play, with some toys. And she gets up to get a toy. And I said, oh, Allah, she can walk. She can walk. My husband's like, what happened? What happened? We were trying to take turns sleep. He would sleep in the room and I would be with Aisha, and then he would be with Aisha and I would try to sleep. And so I was like, she can walk. She can walk. And he was like, oh, praise is due to Allah. Thank Allah. Praise the God, He was just thanking Allah, okay? Because he gave that baby life. He gave the van, everybody who was in there, he allowed us to live. And that's not something we could ever take for granted.
Yes, ma'am.
So now Aisha's in New Jersey with Rob, my beautiful son-in-law, on that 1 meal a day, looking very well, keeping very healthy.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, so everybody who's watching, I try to stay indifferent when I listen to interviews, and I don't try to be. But when you know the people, it's kind of, you get kind of emotional when you hear the story, because everybody. You like, damn, man, and you painted the picture so well. Thank you, Rashad, for asking the question before I could get to it on number 10.
That's a brother for you, right?
Okay, now I gotta. Well, let's bring it back up, Sister Valerie. What has been your greatest joy, in the nation?
Serving.
Yes, ma'am.
Serving is my greatest joy. Serving is my greatest pleasure. For Allah to even allow me to serve is my greatest honor, because the minister has given his all and continues to give his all. So why can't we? You know, what excuse do we have
Yes, ma'am.
not to serve in our nation? So I even thank Allah for that spirit, because I don't even know if people have that spirit.
That's right. That's right.
To be a servant under this divine guidance.
Yes,
Come
ma'am.
on,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
else is there? Right? What else is there?
Praise be to Allah. Okay, I got one more question for you,
Okay.
because this has been great. I'm sure everybody who's watched, and just for the spirit, this is a great interview. I didn't plan to do it on New Year's Eve, but I said I knew that I was bringing on not only a captain and a soldier and a mother, but a student minister who's,
Praise be to
you know what
Allah.
I'm saying, constantly, you know what I'm saying, and women have a special way of expressing the word of Allah, so that's good. What would you like your legacy to be, ma'am?
My legacy
Yes,
would be, come what may, Allah is my goal.
praise be to Allah.
You close the gap. I close the gap. We work on closing the gap between our thinking and the thinking of Almighty God Allah, because that's going to get us to the hereafter. Go where he says go, stay from where he says stay from, hear and obey, you know? And so that would just be my legacy, that we close the gap between our thinking and the thinking of Almighty God Allah, and not make the minister have to work as hard as he works, you know, just to get us the truth, just to get us the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, just to get us everything we need. He's given his all. His family, his beautiful family, have given their all, you know? So we all have come up under his guidance, and we try to train our families and our children. Like, your family is so beautiful. Your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers, you know? So I just want to give a shout out to all my children, Rashad, Marquise, Mark, Rasan, Ayada, and Aisha, my 11 grandchildren, 7 girls, 4 boys, and I'm working hard to bring them up in the nation so that they can know who the right God is. Who is God? Who is the devil? Who is the original man? Right? And you got to know who's the colored man, because you always got to have that balance.
Absolutely. I want to read the comment. Okay, yes, ma'am. A lot of people showing you love, heart, sisters.
Love you all too. Thank you. Praise be to Allah.
What made Mimi powerful interview, emotional, such a shine. I want to say that in 2010, we were in Tampa, Florida, at Clearwater with the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we were at the Church of Scientology at their big black hotel. And at this time, because the laborers were getting audited, and it was so much going on, the younger brothers, we got to be right up on the minister, and it was close because I was like, okay, we on the left, we on the right. I'm working with all of the young. We finally got a chance to get on for a minute, and we walking with the minister. And after we got back, we all excited, and I'm like, y'all, tomorrow we really gonna be on. We gonna be on the stage, and we were about to go do some training. And you said, brothers, where y'all about to go? And I was like, we have to get ready to do some training or something. And you said, no. You all need to go get audited because you had 4 audited sessions. And I looked at you, I was like, nah, she don't know how long it took me to walk next to the minister, you know what I'm saying? And, right on the left, and, we on. I feel so excited. Yeah. And it was you who gave me that instruction in a motherly way to go get audited. And when we went to the auditing session, my mind was blown.
Praise be to Allah.
And I mean, it helped me do better security, better drill, better everything in life. But I thank you for introducing me to that next one-on-one. Like, nah, you can always hold post, but get audited, because me, along with the brothers who was with me, we all got audited.
Praise be to Allah.
We had some wins, and since then we are continuing to do that, to be better servants in the nation. So thank you for being so diligent about, the mind and Dianetics. So I thank you for that aspect as well.
Yes, sir. Well, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, he wants us to get some help.
Yes, ma'am.
He said in one of the study guides that, we have flatlined, we need like a Joe.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And so we just have to go where he says go, and don't fear. and don't doubt, because he knows what he's doing.
Yes, ma'am.
We're not in his shoes. We're not in his position. So when he sends us to do something, we should just really try our best to do it. Because let me tell you, the wins are some wins.
Yes, ma'am.
Like
Yes.
I would not probably be sitting here because I would be like too shy or, laid back, even though people don't think I'm shy. I'd be like, well, I don't know. Why would, you want to interview me, but I got a lot of auditing done, because I've been married twice. I don't want to bring into a third marriage what I went through in the first two. That wouldn't be fair to the new person, right? So I got a lot of that off of me, and I feel like a better person. I feel more clearer about my direction, more saner. I feel more freer within my spirit.
Yes, ma'am.
And, it's just allowed me to do more things in the nation, because when you get audited and you lift off all of that pain, that's like your life force goes up.
Yes, ma'am.
The more your life force goes up, the more responsibility Allah may give you.
Yes, ma'am.
I see Allah giving me more responsibility because I have released so much pain, so much trauma, And if we just go get audited continuously, not one time I did what the minister said, he said we need to go get audited, not one time, continuously, and read the book. Yes, and do the course. If you don't want to become an auditor, fine, but at least read the book and answer the questions. And that way you'll know all about yourself, because the Supreme Wisdom says, ask questions, learn all about yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
So this helps us to learn all about ourselves and why we do the things we do.
Excellent. And I just want to say on behalf of myself and my family that we thank you, love you, and love your family.
Thank you.
Tremendously, children, grandchildren, and
love you all too.
Look forward to seeing you in Detroit. Thank you very much for overcoming your fear of coming on, because I've been trying to get you, like 7 months ago, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh my God, you put me out there 7 months ago. I just want to leave the people with this. Savior's Day is in Detroit. Go. Don't use no excuses. Figure it out. If I can get me, by Allah's grace, and all of my children there, year after year, all of us needed uniforms, boots, gloves, everything. The first thought is, I'm going, right? Then the next thought is to work towards getting there.
Yes,
because there's no spook God. You're going to have to pay some money.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
You have to get an airline ticket and all that. So everybody should go to Savior's Day. I'm sure that the Honorable Minister Farrakhan is preparing. And I just want to say that I love him, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I love your family, and I was praying for your mom. So I'm happy to hear that she's doing well and recovering. So yes, praise be to Allah. You all are a great example for our nation.
We all trying, we just trying like y'all. So thank you, Sister Valerie.
Yes, Detroit,
sir. We're gonna have a good time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all very much for watching.
Thank you all for watching.